Harris needs her own economic policy. One of the biggest obstacles of U.S. President Joe Biden's re-election bid was that voters perceived him to be a poor steward of the economy. It turns out that Americans may not hold the same view of Vice President Kamala Harris, who became the presumptive Democratic nominee after Biden's withdrawal. A new Financial Times University of Michigan poll finds that former President Donald Trump lags his challenger on economic stewardship for the first time since the pollsters began tracking the issue nearly a year ago. The well-crafted question asks respondents whom they trust most to handle the economy, regardless of their overall opinion of the candidates and how they plan to vote in 2024. From February through July, between 40% and 43% of respondents trusted Trump more than Biden, whose support never surpassed 37%. But Harris's standing was a full 7 percentage points above Biden's July numbers, with 42% of respondents trusting her more than Trump. Harris didn't pull support from Trump, whom 41% of respondents, the same as in June and July, deemed more trustworthy. Instead, the share of respondents who reported that they trusted neither candidate fell from 18% in July to 10% in August. That 10% of voters are still up for the grabs, as are the 5% of respondents who report being unsure of which candidate is better. The Harris campaign must become laser-focused on winning over that 15% of voters. To that end, beginning with the economy-focused speech she plans to give this week in North Carolina, Harris should immediately and the White House tone up the efforts to convince Americans that their angst about Biden's handling of the economy is unjustified, and instead recognize the validity of voters' concerns. With inflation reaching a 4-decade high during the Biden years, American households have fallen behind. Since Biden took office, consumer prices have risen by 19%, while wages for the average worker have increased by 17%. Inflation-adjusted median household income was lower in 2022, the latest year for which Census Bureau data are available, than in 2021, lower in 2021 than in 2020, and lower in 2020 than in 2019. Harris must acknowledge the challenges facing typical Americans and clearly articulate how she will differ from Biden in addressing them. Fortunately, as the presumptive nominee, Harris has a legitimate opportunity to reinvent herself. There is nothing cynical about this, just as there was nothing cynical about George H.W. Bush declaring his desire for a kinder and gentler nation when accepting the 1988 Republican presidential nomination after serving as vice president in the hard-edged Reagan administration for 8 years. Harris would naturally operate differently than Biden or anyone else as chief executive, and she should make clear the specific nature of those differences.